Welcome to the Nerdstalgic podcast with your host, the Ginger Bookworm. Nerdstalgic with the Ginger Bookworm. Nerdstalgic with the Ginger Bookworm.
Howdy folks, and welcome back to another exciting, fantastic, amazing episode of Nerdstalgic with me, your host, Luke. Hope you're doing well, hope you're all good. Today's going to be a special one. Today's a special episode for the Summer Games Fest. This time of the year, in June, is kind of like the Christmas for gamers, as I like to think of it, where basically we get all the new announcements of video games coming out this year, or video games coming in the next year, or if you're Half-Life 3, a video game that's going to come out never. But that being said, I love watching these things every year. Every year I've been watching like E3 since I was in the early 2000s, really. Like, I've just enjoyed them so much ever since like they've been streaming on the internet. I've been watching them. So I just thought, now I've got a podcast, now I've got a platform, I can sort of celebrate openly, not just in myself, because the majority of the time whenever these things are on, especially when I was at college and uni, as at school, I'd watch them, say, like on the weekend, and then come into school the next week and be like, oh my god, did you see the new game, or did you see Halo Reach, or did you see Borderlands, and we'd have that small little sort of moment with each other. And it was just nice to I thought it'd be nice to kind of share it with you guys. So this is my Summer Games Fest special. The way I'm going to do it, I'm going to list off every single game that was shown, and then I'm going to go through a select few that took my interest, that I thought was good, and then we're going to wrap it up all nice and tightly. And hopefully, if I do this right, it's only going to be a short one. It's going to be a fun gaming romp. Yes, I use the word romp. That's such an old-fashioned word, but I'm going to stick with it because it works. And then on the Sunday, which this will be coming out on the Saturday, so tomorrow, make sure, if you're interested in stuff like this, make sure that you stay alert, because the Xbox Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, well, it's Xbox Bethesda, but I'm sure Activision and Blizzard are going to show something there. But the Xbox and Blizzard showcase is on the Sunday, so keep an eye out for that, and don't worry if you don't, because I will be doing a special for that as well. It's just a great time for video games, and this Summer Game Fest was enjoyable, and I quite enjoyed it. So that being said, here's the list of all the games that were shown. It's a long list. I'm not going to give any details. I'm just going to say the name, move on. There was a lot. I didn't really, as you can hear the paper, I wrote them down as I was going. So you got Street Fighter 6, they showed some gameplay and apparently a new character, but I can't remember. I can't remember until I didn't catch the name of the character, so I didn't write it down. Aliens Dark Descent, which is coming out in 2023. They had a cinematic trailer. The Callisto Protocol, that's coming December the 2nd, 2022. They showed trailer and gameplay. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, they showed gameplay. Flashback 2, they showed a trailer. Witchfire trailer, Fort Solis trailer, Routine trailer. Then they had The Rock for some unknown reason, but The Rock was just being The Rock, as I've wrote down in my notes. He just showed the Black Adam trailer, as well as promoting like the 20 other thousand things The Rock has going on at the moment. Again, I understand like this is not like Xbox or like PlayStation. This is like a smaller sort of festival. So they need to get their funding from somewhere. So I understand that they'd get in touch with The Rock and be like, come on, we'll advertise your energy drink, and we'll advertise your big new movie if you give us a certain amount of money. Obviously, I understand that, because you've got to pay for the funding to get these shows up and running. So I understand that part. It was just the fact of how long it went on for. I was like, I would rather watch gameplay than watch the Black Adam trailer that I've already seen, which I enjoyed, by the way. Just a bit of a side quest. I'd have seen the Black Adam trailer and I quite liked it. I thought it was all right. I look forward to seeing the film, but if anything, I can't help not just see The Rock as The Rock, because The Rock has always been a superhero. So now, just because he wears a cape and a costume, to me doesn't make any difference, But anyway, that's a short side quest. I'm going off. So yeah, The Rock showed up, and then you had Outriders World Slayer, the new expansion, the story expansion. They had a trailer for that. Fall Guys coming free to play on all platforms. Stormgate, they showed a trailer. High Water trailer. American Arcadia trailer. Goat Simulator 3. I didn't even know there was a Goat Simulator 2. And apparently, if I'm looking online, a lot of other people are the same. Apparently, they just jumped straight over 2 and went straight to 3. So maybe it's a joke that they were doing. Actually, the thing about Goat Simulator, it got me really excited. I haven't mentioned this before. It's not really a big thing. Again, it's a bit of a side quest. I am a big fan of Dead Island. I love the Dead Island games. I played Dead Island 1 and I played Dead Island 1.5, Dead Island Riptide. I love the series, of the franchise, and I remember years and years ago now when Dead Island 2 was announced, and I remember the trailer very vividly, where you've got the runner put his headphones in and he's running down the strip, which I would say is the LA strip, by the beach. And as he's running down there, behind him, zombies are killing people and stuff like that, and people are getting run over by cars. And it's really, really cool and visceral. It's an amazing trailer for a game that never, will never come out. Hopefully, it will come out, but as of yet, it's been a long time. It hasn't. And that's basically what the Goat Simulator trailer was. It was a play on the Dead Island 2 trailer, but with goats. And I got really excited. And it wasn't until I saw that the character animations and the character models, they look really janky. And I'm like, please don't tell me this is Dead Island 2, because it looks really bad. And then when the goats started appearing, I was like, okay, I know what this is now, Goat Simulator. So it got me excited for a second there, because I generally thought we were going to see Dead Island 2, a new reveal or brand new trailer or something like that. But no, it was Goat Simulator 3. So that kind of pissed me off, but it made me laugh at the same time. So it mellowed me out. So it's not so bad. What did we get? Okay, so we got Marvel Midnight Sun trailer, and they announced that they're going to have Spider-Man in it. And Spider-Man not just specifically for PlayStation, but Spider-Man on Xbox as well, which is fantastic because we hardly have any Spider-Man on Xbox anymore. So I'm glad that they're bringing Spider-Man back to the X-Men. Spider-Man back to the Xbox, not the X-Men. God damn it. Yeah, tongue-tied. Right, so they got Cuphead DLC. What's with me today? God, hold on 1 second. Let me take a drink of water, because obviously, I'm getting tongue-tied. Hold on. Right, drink of water. Try it again. So, you've got the Cuphead DLC gameplay, which look quite good. I've never played Cuphead, but it looks quite good. Yeah, you've got Neon White gameplay, Midnight Fight Express gameplay. That one's quite amazing, actually. Midnight Fight Express. That game was made by one guy in Poland on his own. And when you look at the gameplay, it's hard to believe that one guy made that. But it is possible. It just obviously would take a lot of time. But for what that guy's done on his own is absolutely incredible. You've got the new Warframe expansion. They've got a trailer for that. I'm going to butcher this one. Honkai Skyrail, which was an anime sort of game. They had a trailer for that. TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge gameplay, coming out June the 16th, day one on Game Pass. Oh boy, yes, coming out this year, which I will get onto that one in a minute. You've got Super People trailer, Humankind trailer, which is also, that Humankind is coming day one to Game Pass as well. One Piece Odyssey trailer, Nightingale gameplay, Saints Row Boss Factory demo trailer, which is basically Saints Row's like character builder. They did it for, like, I think it was Saints Row 3 back in the day. If anybody remembers, when Saints Row 3 came out, before the game was released, they basically did a demo where you could create your boss, and that it would save it. So when you played Saints Row 3, you didn't have to sort of go through the process. You've already made your sort of character. So that's what I would assume they're doing here. It's free to download on the Xbox and PlayStation and Steam. Haven't done it yet, and I probably won't, because if I'm being completely honest with everybody, I'm not interested in Saints Row anymore, especially not this new one. It looks generic. It looks like every other open world sort of sandbox game I've played in the last sort of 5 years. I'm not really interested. I'll wait till reviews come out, and if it goes, and then I'll probably just wait for it to go on sale, and I'll get it cheap. So that's my honest opinion there. So I'm not really interested. But anyway, you've got Warhammer Darktide trailer and a few bit of gameplay. You've got Layers of Fears by Bloober Studios, people that made the Blair Witch games and the Medium and sort of stuff like that. Basically, they make really beautiful, scary, sort of linear, sort of story-based games. But the gameplay, the story's not always great and the gameplay is a bit meh. It is just a walking sim, so But anyway, so you've got Gotham Knights, Nightwing trailer showed off Nightwing more. Again, I'm not really interested that much in Gotham Knights. I was, and then they showed me gameplay, and I was a bit, ugh, this looks bad. So again, I'll wait until release, and then I'll wait until reviews, and I'll make my proper judgment there. But as of now, I'm not interested. And then finally, they spent almost like 15 to 20 minutes talking about The Last of Us, talking about the Last of Us multiplayer, which apparently is not ready yet, but they've got a screenshot, which again, if you haven't got nothing to show and you've got nothing to say, again, don't show or say anything, in my opinion. Show things that you have got. But again, they like to get hype, so I understand how that is. But so they showed The Last of Us multiplayer announcement with an image, and they talked about the show, the Last of Us show that's going on with Pedro Pascal. They showed an image from that as well. Again, they couldn't talk about it a lot. And then because it was, I don't know if they were going to announce it or not, but it was leaked before the show. But how basically people said about the Last of Us remaster. So the Last of Us 1 that came out for the PlayStation 3 was remastered for what's it called it for PlayStation 4. I think I don't know if it's a remaster or a remake. I think it's actually a remake because they built it from the ground up to work specifically on PlayStation 5. But they're redoing The Last of Us. So if you've already played The Last of Us, like I've played The Last of Us, the first one on PlayStation 3, and I played it on the PlayStation 4, I don't need to go back a third time. I haven't played Last of Us 2 because I don't have a PS4. So where I stand on it, I don't really care. I would prefer they spent time elsewhere. But they spent, like I said, 15 to 20 minutes talking about The Last of Us. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's basically it. This whole sort of festival was quite good. A lot of people sort of took the piss out of it afterwards, mainly because the way this festival was and the way the live event is that they showed gameplay and they showed trailers, but majority of the games were all sci-fi horror. So you got like Aliens Dark Descent. You've got Flashback was like a sci-fi horror, like a sci-fi sort of game. You got Routine, which is like a sci-fi horror. I was trying to look through it. You've got Dark Tide trailer. Did I mention the Callisto Protocol? There was loads here that's mostly either sci-fi or sci-fi horror, and I noticed it halfway through, but it didn't bother me because I quite like sci-fi horror and I quite like sci-fi games. So it didn't bother me, but I remember looking after it finished, and a lot of people was like just taking the piss how the fact of it was very sci-fi heavy. God's sake, I don't know what it is with me today. I'm just excited, and I've got so much going on in my brain that I get tongue-tied. It happens all the time. Whenever I get really excited about something or talking about something, my brain goes like 10 to the dozen, and my tongue can't keep up. It's like my tongue gets really, really fat from my mouth, and I just can't get my words out. So I need to slow down and relax, even though I know I'm excited. But that being said, a lot of people sort of took the mick out of it because it was so sort of sci-fi, science fiction heavy. I quite liked it. There was a few in here that I thought was really, really interesting. Like Witchfire was really interesting. That was like a medieval Doom sort of style sort of game, which I thought was really, really cool. Routine looked amazing. Outriders, because I quite enjoy Outriders, if I'm being honest. So I'm looking forward to the story expansion there. Fall Guys looks fun to play with a few friends. TMNT will look good. Midnight Suns look good. Even though I've never played Cuphead because I don't like hard games, I'm interested in the DLC for Cuphead because I just love the art style, and I kind of hope that this studio makes a game that isn't like Cuphead, that isn't hard, but in the same art style. I would just love a game like that, just easier. I don't play hard games because I just don't. I just don't like them. Simple as that. And I am free to like and not like what I don't like, or like I don't know where I was going. I just don't like those type of games. But that being said, I'm going to move on now to a list of games. Specifically, out of that list of that games took my eye and that I want to talk a bit more about. So let's get on to it, shall we? Let's get on to the ones that I'm interested in, the games that took my eye. So these were the games that took my eye. These are the games that took my fancy. So starting from the top, in no particular order, these are just from going from that list, and I wrote them down. So there's no really particular order from best to worst. These are just the games that took my eye. So Aliens Dark Descent. They didn't really give a date for this. As I said, it was just 2023. I was quite excited for it because recently I've been playing Alien Colonial Marines on the Xbox 360, which I will have an episode about that hopefully within a week or two. I've got such a backlog of things and so many drafts that hopefully that will come soon. But it will, I promise. But I've been playing that a lot recently, and I played Aliens Fireteam Elite. And what else? I was looking into getting back into, because I never completed it, Alien Isolation. So I'm in an Aliens mood. I'm in a mood for xenomorphs. You know what I mean? So when this was announced, I got really, really excited. And it wasn't until we saw like a smidget, and it was only a small, but it was a smidgen of gameplay, and it was an isometric twin stick shooter, which is made you play from above, and you can see the level, kind of like God mode. You see from above, and you just control the little sort of tiny little character, with like the stick, so you can like point forwards, and that's aim, and then you aim that way. I like those sort of games, but I was a bit disappointed because even though again this is the first time we've seen this game, and like I have no hype behind it or anything like that, it's just I really want a first-person shooter Alien Colonial Marines game. You know, granted, and I will get onto it in more detail when I do the episode on that game, but when that game works, it works. You know what I mean? When you are in the corridors of a ship or an abandoned base, it is spooky, it is creepy, it is fun. You know, and I want that in a modern setting with better graphics and better mechanics. You know, bring in the old sound design of the guns and of the Xenos, and just sort of scare the shit out of me. Yes, I have a gun, but I'm still vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like I want that alien isolation with a gun. That's what I want. That's what I was kind of hoping for here. And then to see it was a twin stick shooter, I was a bit deflated, I won't lie. But I will still play it because I like aliens. You know, I love the xenomorphs and I love the Colonial Marines, so I will still play it. But I won't lie, I was a bit deflated. But that game's coming out next year, so fingers crossed. Maybe near to the end of the year when they do the Game Awards, we might see a bit more about it. But we'll see. Fingers crossed. I will definitely be keeping an eye out for that one. We've got the Callisto Protocol, which comes out December 2nd, 2022, this year, which is fantastic. For anybody who doesn't know anything about the Callisto Protocol, if you played Dead Space, it will seem familiar to you, because some of the folks that were there during the development of Dead Space, when the studio was shut down, they went off and they made their own studio, and they basically decided that we're going to do the Dead Space game that we wanted to do. Kind of like the how can we explain it? So imagine that Dead Space is the granddad, and that this is going to be the new sort of grandson. That's going to be bigger and better. You know, the game they wanted to make. Like where they wanted, basically, I'm mixing my words. Basically, this is the predecessor. That was the word I'm looking for. Predecessor. This is kind of like Dead Space 2.0, and we all know how good Dead Space was. I'm a big fan of Dead Space 1, 2, and 3. Even 3. Dead Space 3, I know it wasn't the best out of the two, but I still enjoyed Dead Space 3, and I love the story, I love the world, I love Isaac. So this team that made Dead Space are now making a new next-gen Dead Space game. Is just incredible, and I'm really, really excited to see what they do. And that it's coming out this year. It's really visceral. It's spooky. It's creepy. I I have no words. I'm just really overjoyed that it's coming out this year. Like I generally thought this game wouldn't be till next year, really. And for them to say December 2nd, 2022. I'm all here for it. I love my space horror, which is funny because I couldn't, I couldn't play Resident Evil 7. No, yeah, Resident Evil 7, with the one that was in like the bayou in the old sort of clapdown house with the hillbilly sort of parents. I couldn't play that because generally it was too scary for me. Like I just couldn't get through it. Same with Alien Isolation. I got so far through it and I just couldn't do it without sort of crapping myself. But oddly enough, I still quite enjoy sci-fi horror. I don't know what it is. I just can't play certain horrors. But Dead Space was one of those sort of games that I just was happy to go through and play and just enjoy it. Even though it scared the crap out of me, I just enjoyed it. So I am looking forward to this. Um, there's not really much to say. The gameplay was amazing. It was, again, like I said, very visceral, and it even showed you the fact of, if you screw up, if you make the wrong decision, or if you run out of ammo, you will pay the consequences, and you will die a very gruesome, brutal death. And that was the same with like Dead Space 1 to 3. If you messed up, or if you went into a situation where you didn't take out the enemy that was the most, if you didn't prioritize your targets, if you didn't prioritize your ammo, um, if you wasn't clever with your shots placed, like taking out certain limbs, which they've got that in this. You have to take out the limbs. You can't just shoot them in the head or the chest. You have to take out the limbs, sever the limbs. That if you make a mistake, if you don't sort of plan ahead, which you always have to plan ahead with these sort of games, you will die very gruesomely and very brutally, and it shows it. And I'm glad. I like that kind of stuff, to show the fact if I fuck up, I fucked up, and I know I have, because I can see it. I've been smushed, I've been ripped apart, I've been crushed or whatever. So I love next gen gore. It looks fantastic, and I can't wait for it. So I'm really excited for that one. This is another odd one, because this is something that I never thought I'd ever write on a list of games that I'm excited for. But for what Battlefield's done recently, it's lost a lot of credit from me. So I've gone back to the old school. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 coming out the 28th of October 2022. Funny side story about this. The last Call of Duty I played was Ghost. That was the last sort of modern Call of Duty game I've played, right? I have recently gone back and played Call of Duty World War 2 and Black Ops 2. But in terms of actually the last game I went out and bought day one was Ghost. And the game let me down. I just didn't enjoy it, didn't like it. And a friend of mine played Battlefield, and he said Battlefield 4 had not long come out, and he went, play Battlefield, you'd enjoy it, it's a lot better. So I remember I went down to CX, I got it, and I've never looked back. Honestly, I've been a Battlefield fanboy ever since. I've enjoyed the campaigns. I've enjoyed the multiplayer. Like Battlefield 1 is my favorite Battlefield of all time. I have such fond memories of that, playing through the trenches. And even now, it still looks good. It still plays fantastically. And people still play it. And I enjoy it. I bought all the DLC, all the extra maps, all the expansions, because I just love that game. And I played Battlefield V, or Battlefield 5, which was Battlefield World War 2. Even though that wasn't really well perceived, again, I played it, enjoyed it, I liked it. And then the recent Battlefield, haven't bought it, mainly because, well, I wasn't interested, because they said it was not going to have a campaign. So I was like, oh, if there's no campaign, then I'm not going to play. But I will see what the multiplayer is like. And the multiplayer was looked good, but it turned out it was shockingly bad, and it was missing features. And I've kept up with it, and yeah, Battlefield's let me down so much. So because of that, I figured, well, let's see what Call of Duty's doing. And Call of Duty did quite amazingly with Modern Warfare, the remake they did of Modern Warfare. That was amazing. I enjoyed my time with Call of Duty World War 2. I quite enjoyed Call of Duty Infinite, where they took it in a completely different direction. Granted, the story wasn't great, but how they took it to space, and you had space battles, like, it didn't feel like a Call of Duty game. At times, it was fun. I enjoyed it. And even though Call of Duty sort of Vanguard was a bit of a sort of shit show of from what I've seen, the new Modern Warfare 2 looks good. It does. And from the gameplay that I saw, it looks interesting. So I am interested in Call of Duty. I know I went on a bit of a side quest there, a bit of a side waffle. But I'm interested in what Call of Duty you've got. I've still got to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I've got to play the first one first before I get around to playing this one. But I think, I don't know for sure, but I would assume, and I think that because Xbox are in the sort of midst of acquiring Activision and Blizzard, that if not day one, eventually this game, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, will be on Game Pass eventually. If not day one, soon after. and I think the same will happen for all the other Call of Duties. They will go on to Game Pass as well. So if you're not on Game Pass yet, wait a bit and just see what happens on Sunday. I feel like on Sunday they will announce that some Activision games will be coming to Game Pass. Again, nobody said that. That's just my theory. That's just what I think. So fingers crossed there. But that being said, I am looking forward to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I'm excited to see where they take Call of Duty. I won't buy every Call of Duty, especially not if they come to Game Pass day one. I won't spend any money on them. But because Battlefield's let me down, I'm gonna give Call of Duty a go again. And I know I never thought I'd say that, because I was for a long time sort of I was just went off Call of Duty. I was a complete Battlefield snob, but now Battlefield's gone the way of Call of Duty was that I'm turning the tables. I'm going back to Call of Duty and seeing what I've missed out on. So that comes out December 2nd this year. Oh, no, sorry, that was the Callisto Protocol. The game comes out on the 28th of October this year. So I look forward to that one. Next is Marvel Midnight Suns, which is like an XCOM sort of game. So like you have a grid, kind of like Gears of War Tactics, that sort of thing. You get a grid and you get into cover and you just take enemies and you take turns, like a turntable sort of game. I'm quite interested in those sort of games. I quite like those types of games, and especially Marvel as well. And the trailers look amazing. And what sort of won me over, I was a bit on the fence. Like I was interested in it. It wasn't till they announced that Spider-Man was going to be in it. I was like, oh, Spider-Man, that's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. And then when they announced Spider-Man coming to PlayStation, to Xbox, to Steam, to all other places that's coming out, I was like, you've got me. Because I am a Spider-Man fan, and I love my Spider-Man games. I've been looking, another side quest. Here we go. I've been looking into getting some of the Spider-Man games for the 360, but I would tell you now, when I say expensive, I am not exaggerating. Because there's no Spider-Man games on the Xbox anymore, because Sony's cornered the market of the Spider-Man games, any Spider-Man game for the Xbox is expensive. You're looking upwards of 28 quid to some time. I saw one, I think it was Web of Fate. That one I saw for about 53 quid, but I've seen for more on eBay. It varies, but it's quite expensive. A lot of money for an old game, and unless I was a die-hard collector and not somebody that just wanted to play them, like I just want to play them. That's all I want. I don't really like. Obviously, there's the collecting, yes, but I mostly just want to play them to experience them. And because of that, I don't really want to spend upwards of like 20 something quid on a game, on an Xbox 360 game. And a lot of people might sit there and go, oh, look, that's quite cheap. But in all fairness, you have to understand the fact of, it's a 360 game. Yes, it is a collectible, blah, 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 but it's still a 360 game. And I can't justify paying loads of money for a game that, is old, and especially a game that I can't play backwards compatible. If I could play it backwards compatible, I wouldn't mind spending a bit extra. But because, I just can't justify it. So for a long time, not having Spider-Man on the Xbox, it's a breath of fresh air, and it's really hyped me up and it's got me excited. So I am looking forward to it. And then the way the trailer ended with the Hulk, and everybody knows, listen to this, how much of a Hulk fan I am, that Hulk has been sort of, I don't know, demonized, I would say, if that's what you would call it. So I look forward to playing the game. Like I'm really like, this is generally one I'm going to look forward into getting. And this one comes out in October as well. That comes out on the 7th of October this year. So I'm really looking forward to Marvel Midnight Sun. TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. That comes out June the 16th, 2022. That's day one on Game Pass, that game is. I've already got in touch with the boys at Casting Views, and I've got in touch with Chatsunami. Some of them, if you listen to my show, you might see on Twitter that I always sort of communicate with them and sort of link them, and have a lot of fun with those guys. But I got in touch with them, and I'm trying my best to see if I can get us all together when this game comes out. Hope either day one or soon, and we can play probably not 6 player, but we can play in co-op and play through sort of the Shredders of Revenge. This game really, really excites me. I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I love the old arcade game, and I'm just really, really excited. A modern day classical arcade type side-scrolling beat 'em up, kind of like Streets of Rage, and it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Basically, you've ticked all my boxes, you've rung all the bells. I'm ready. Hopefully, I can get the guys together because it looks like a game that would be fun to play on your own, but it'd be more fun to play with loads of people. And it being 6-player co-op, we probably won't be able to get a 6-player, but I'm hoping that we can fill out at least the Ninja Turtles. You know, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Leonardo. You know, I hope that we can get the proper group together. So that's fingers crossed. And if they're listening, yes, I have asked you guys already, but fingers crossed we can work out a day and time and we can do this. And it's going to be a lot of fun. But if you're not Chat Tsunami and you're not casting views, then just ignore that bit just. But yeah, this game really does excite me, and it's coming out really soon. It's coming out day one to Game Pass. You know, Xbox is killing it at the moment in terms of day one exclusives. Like, this is a game that I didn't think would be day one, but it is day one, and I love it, and it's fantastic, and I can't wait to play it with some fantastic people. So it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. It's so close. June the 16th. I'm really, really excited for that one. I'm so glad I didn't get tongue tied for that one. Next one, you've got Warhammer Dark Tide. I'm a big fan of the Warhammer franchise. I've been trying my best to get into it. I think I mentioned this, God, ran the beginning of when I started the podcast. So it's a very old episode, so I won't blame anybody if nobody caught it or nobody remembers it. But back in the day, I say back in the day, this was only a couple of months ago. But I spent hours watching long, and I mean like hour to 2 hour long videos on the lore and the history of the Warhammer 2040 40k 2040, where did that come from? The Warhammer 40k universe, about the Emperor and about the chaos and the different factions and the Space Marines and how it all works. There's a lot. I won't sit here and say, oh well, I've watched all those videos. I now know everything. I'm a master. I'm just fascinated in this world. I've always been fascinated in this world, not in it. But I never was really into the model making. I was never really into the games. It was something that I wanted to do when I was younger. And I did go into some games workshops, but again, they were always really expensive models. And like being only young, my dad was like, well, you have to paint them, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't really want to paint them and that sort of thing. So I never really got into it on that side. My first introduction to the Warhammer sort of universe is through Space Marines that came out for the Xbox 360 when you play as Titus. I was really, really loving that game. I thought it was fantastic, and still to this day I feel like it's an underrated game on the 360. And they're remaking it. I think they remaking it. They're making a Space Marines 2. Sadly, not the same voice actor. I think it's Mark Strong, or Arnold Strong, who does the voice for Titus in the first one. And they changed the voice actor for Space Marines 2, which is a bit of a shame. But that being said, I'm just happy for more Space Marines. But when I saw that they was making a Warhammer Dark Tide and it was coming day one to Game Pass, I was over the moon. I didn't manage to catch the day when that was released. I think it's this year, unless it gets pushed back to next year. Maybe we'll find out a bit more gameplay on Sunday when Xbox does their event, if it's not all Bethesda, which it might be all Bethesda, but we will see. But the Warhammer Dark Tide, it excites me. It's kind of like if you've ever played Vermintide or you ever played Left 4 Dead, it's kind of like a horde mode. You go into like little sort of arenas, and you've got to make your way through the level while being bombarded of waves and waves and waves of enemies. I quite enjoyed Vermintide. It's one of them games again that it's more fun when you play with a group of people. I mostly played through the first Vermintide on my own. It's all right, but gets a bit tiresome, a bit boring, especially how the AI wasn't that great. And again, same with Vermintide 2. Played for it on my own. It was a bit but like I said, I'm more into the Warhammer 40k universe than I am into sort of the medieval side of Warhammer. But that being said, like, I'm excited to see it, and hopefully, again, I can ask the guys if they'd be interested to play in it, and we have a joke and a laugh on the Xbox when this comes out day one. I am assuming that it is coming out this year, and I think, if I remember correctly, they were looking at an October-November release. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that, but I feel like it is this year. I do know for sure it is coming out day one on Game Pass because they've been saying that every time since last year, since they sort of announced it. So that's that one looks amazing. One quick one I added before I started recording was a game called Routine. We had no release date. I would assume potentially next year. It was a game, like I said, called Routine. They just showed a trailer, and it looks like Dead Space. It looks like another sci-fi horror set on the moon, and there's a guy sort of creeping around trying to hide away from what look like robots, like Terminator sort of robots. And the trailer sort of just ends that he turns around. And it made me jump. It generally made me. It had a jump scare in it, and it was such a pathetic jump scare because the character was going down this dark stairwell, and as they've gotten close to this stairwell, this light was hanging from the ceiling, and it just flickered on, and that made me jump. And I was like, "Oh, damn you bastard!" Maybe, like, literally, it was one of those. Oh, God's sake! But as he was going downstairs, he had the big robot in front of him, and it looked quite creepy. And then it turns around, hears a noise behind him, and there's a robot gets him by the throat, strangles him, and then it just ends. But it looks really, really good. And if it, again, it's one of those other games that I just hope day one Xbox. I don't know if it is going to be a day one Xbox, but I'm really, really excited for it. And yeah, there's not really much to say about that one. We just saw a trailer. We didn't really get a release or anything, so fingers crossed we might see some more at the Game Awards, or maybe we won't see anything until next year. But either way, I'm quite excited for it. Sorry about that. Sad to have a drink of water, getting quite of a dry mouth. But overall, my thoughts on the event and the games. Overall, it was fantastic. I enjoyed it. Granted, yes, it was mostly all sort of sci-fi, or sci-fi horror. But that being said, I enjoy those type of games. I am a big sort of baby, certain sort of horror games, but I love my sci-fi horror. And to me, it was just more of what I like. So for me, it wasn't a bad thing. But I understand what other people watching it, hoping for certain things or hoping to see different sort of types of games, and then having sort of constant, well, not constant, but almost constant science fiction, sci-fi games. It was probably get a bit dreary, a bit of a piss take, a bit annoying. So I understand where people are coming from there. But apart from that, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good one. Again, if I could nitpick, whenever they would show us certain games, they would have the developers on, and they would have the developers talking about it a bit. I don't mind that, but for me, it's more just the fact of show me the game, either trailer or gameplay or both, and then talk about it. Give me the brief sort of long and short of it, of what the game's about, how we're going to play, blah 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 blah, and then sort of leave and do another game. And some of these were coming on, and they were just, what's the word I'm looking for? They would talk about the game, and you just talk and talk and talk, and you'd be like, okay, so if you want to do that, by all means, I'll happily sit and watch an interview, and you break down the game after the sort of the live event. I'll happily stay and listen to you talk about certain games, especially games that I enjoy. But it just, I don't know, it just kind of gets to me where, like, I would rather see the games first and then talk about them after the event itself. Especially when it came to The Last of Us. Again, I've said my thing about Last of Us. I'm kind of a bit tired of it now. I'm a bit fatigued of it. And so because they spent near to the end, like I said, 15 to 20 minutes talking about things that they can't talk about. So, we're bringing out multiplayer. Anything to say about multiplayer? No, it's not ready yet. Okay. We're doing a TV show. Yeah, we're doing a TV show. Anything you can talk about it? Oh, not really. We can show you a picture, and we can tell you that the two original voice actors from the games are going to show up in the TV show, playing completely new characters. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You didn't really need to show the characters. You could have just done a, like, sort of news article You could have announced it on your Twitter, you know what I mean? You didn't have to show us, but okay, fine. Or you could have just left it as an Easter egg, you know what I mean? For like hardcore fans to notice, be like, oh my god, that's the people that do the motion capture and the voices for the characters in the games, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. It could have been a cool Easter egg, but okay, fine. Um, but yeah, like overall, they just spent a lot of time at the end, sort of faffing about Last of Us, and if like that's just nitpicking, you know, that's just the bits that kind of got me. I was like, oh, come, we could kind of have this time elsewhere in a separate interview. Um, you know, this is time that is being taken up that other games could have filled, other games could have been shown, or other games that had been shown could have been shown for longer, because you know you didn't have to worry about time, because you could have extended the period of the amount of games that you showed, and you could show them for a lot longer. Games that more people are more interested in, like Midnight Suns and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and maybe Call of Duty and Callisto Protocol and all that jazz. They could have expanded it that way, but I'm just nitpicking here. You know, like apart from that, the festival was okay. The live event was fun. I enjoyed it. And yeah, it's got me hyped. It's got me in the mood for games to come. It's got me hyped and in the mood for the next games that are coming soon, tomorrow, from Xbox. So yeah, I'm really excited. I really am. As you can tell, I'm getting tongue tied. I'm getting flustered. I'm messing up. I'm making mistakes. All this will stay in the cut. I won't cut any of it out, because again, it makes it a bit more real. It makes it a bit more sort of what's the word? I was going to say the word organic, but it makes it a lot more sort of um, relatable. You know, it makes, because again, I'm a nerd and I love gaming. So when you see all these new things, I just get excited. So I'm going to leave it all in the cup. So overall, my overall thoughts is that I enjoyed it and I can't wait for what happens next. So let's get round to ending this, shall we? Let's get this hype train back to the station. So the hype train is now back in the station. We are relaxed. We are chilled out. I am mellowed. Well, say that I've just had a really big drink of water because my mouth was really dry. I have to take the headphones off because it gives me such a headache. Because I wear glasses. The pressure of the headphones, even though I've messed around with the tightness, it really just compresses my head, and that gives me a headache. So even though for you it was a few seconds, for me it was a bit of a longer break. That's when I'm a bit more mellowed, a bit more calm now. But that being said, we're at the end of it. We're at the very end now. So where was I? That's where I was. That's where I am. I am here. I am now. I am present. That's where I was. Basically, what do you think? You know, did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you watch it live? Are you interested in the games that are coming that I talked about, or the games that were announced? You know, is this your sort of thing? Because I remember I put a poll up on my on Twitter, basically saying are people excited for the Summer Game Fest and for Xbox? Are you not interested? And I think it was, are you interested? Are you not interested? And one of them was like a silly one, was like, sort of give me sort of Starfield now. Obviously, we won't see Starfield until tomorrow, until Sunday. But I was just wondering, you know what I mean, like what people thought, and it was funny. It was like, out of the amount of people that I got, I haven't checked it in a while. Last time I checked it, it was about 4 people had done it, and out of the 4 people, I would assume 2 people said they're interested, and 2 people said they weren't interested. I haven't checked it since. I don't know if it's changed or not, but like, if you are interested, you aren't. If you're a gamer, it's all good. If you're a gamer, this is great news. If you're not much of a gamer, then that's completely fine. But I'm excited. I'm really excited. But as always, sort of let me know what you think. If you agree with me or disagree, message me on Twitter at nerdstalgic_pod. You can also find this podcast and all my other episodes on Spotify, on Anchor, on Google Podcasts, on Amazon Music, and now I can say it because it's official. Now you can find this podcast on YouTube. Just type in the Nerdstalgic podcast and you will see my flaming face. I've only, at this moment of time of recording, I only have 3 videos up, because what I'm doing my backlog. So all my prior episodes are now going to be put onto YouTube. So as we're recording this, I only have my trailer, my first ever episode, my second episode, and my third episode that I've ever done. If you listen to this in the future, most likely there's loads of episodes there now. But if you listen to this day and date on Saturday, the 11th of June 2022, then there's only 3 episodes as of now. But after recording this, I'm going to be working on putting on more. So hopefully, by the time you hear this, actually, there might be a few more on there. Fingers crossed, we'll see if I manage to get round to it today of recording. But yeah, so you can find me. So Twitter at Nerdstalgic_pod, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and now YouTube. And if you listen to this on Spotify, don't forget to give me a star rating. Underneath my name on Spotify, there'll be a little star. Click that, and you'll be given an option between 5 stars and 1 star. 5 star being the best thing you've ever heard in your life. 1 star being the worst thing you've ever heard in your life. Complete doo-doo. You would rather hear a Vogon recite poetry. Then by all means, give me a 1. Or if you like what you hear, give me a 5, or 4, or 3, or 2, or 1. Whatever you feel like is fair, by all means. Give me a rating. It helps me out. It helps the show out, because then it makes somehow how Twitter works. The higher your star rating, the higher up the ladder you go. I mean, more people will find your show, and it'll be advertised and all that jazz. So it's all about listeners. So if you like what you hear and you want the show to succeed, then give it whatever you feel like is fair. I am not asking anybody to give me 5 stars. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. Cough, cough. No, I'm joking. Whatever you feel like is fair. But that is all she wrote. By all means, thank you for listening. As always, stay tuned for tomorrow, because I will be stay tuned to my Twitter, Nerdstalgic_pod, because I will be talking and posting about the Xbox Bethesda live event all day. And when it happens, I'll be talking about whatever gets shown and my excitement. And then just keep an eye out, because next week, hopefully either Monday or Tuesday, most likely Tuesday, I will be recording and releasing the episode for that. So that gives you more reason to stay and to listen to the show and to become a fan, because if you like this one and you want to see what I talk about when I get down and dirty talking about Xbox, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. So stay tuned. So thank you for listening to the Nerdstalgic podcast with me, your host Luke. And as always, thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, guys. Bye-bye now.